webcast thingamabobber. Here we go. I'm going to invite Tommy. There's Tommy's iconic icon. What's up, brother?
Yo, 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 what's happening?
Oh, I can see you, man. I can see you.
See you too, silly.
Oh, and that's just precious.
Hangout Toolbox needs your permission in order to start. Continue.
Come on. Come on. So ask an audience to submit questions, and they will appear below. So right now, nobody knows we're actually doing this because we just decided to do this impromptu. So if any of you party people are seeing this, you need to ask us a question. But in the meantime, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Dude, I'm doing well. I got a couple of cool things I did today that I want to share with you, but I want to wait until we actually have people that might be interacting with us and talking to us.
And I agree with that 100%. So other stuff that, well, it's, how is the weather there? Are you guys getting the crazy amount of rain that we are here in the Ohio Valley?
It's been insane. It's been raining for a week straight, and it doesn't look like it's going to let up anytime soon. For most of this week, it's going to be raining. And yeah, I've had enough of it, but it's been warm, dude. How's it been up there?
It was 70 degrees on Christmas, man.
It was 81 yesterday down at my cabin. 81 degrees.
To quote Wayne's World, that blows goats.
Excellent. Party on. You and I are like the Wayne's World of Google.
I love Wayne's World, man. I can't help it. I up in there. That was kind of the thing. So, okay, I see that there are people watching. It says there are 5 viewers. So, viewers, we think we figured out the whole the chat thing. So, if you can make a comment or a chat, please do so we can see that you guys are actually able to communicate with us. So please chat away if you are able. It says here on our Google crazy machine, ask your audience to submit questions and they will appear below. So I have done as Google has asked. So please figure out where your chat little thingy is. I think it might be on the left-hand side if you're on a PC. There's a little Q&A button. You can click on that to allow it to open up to your Q&A. And let's see, questions. And answer questions. So if anybody can actually ask a question, now would be a great time because we're trying to figure out if we're doing this wrong. Q, yeah. Go, Tommy, go.
Well, it could be anything too. Just put anything up there.
Well, how do I even do it? Can you ask a question?
No, it says comment tracker add sources, and then I click add, and it says, whoops, we can't.
Oh wait, here's something else. Maybe I can do this. Hi guys. I just added a thing. I added a comment. Do you see that comment?
Yes, I do.
Why don't you respond, Tommy?
Hello. BFH.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice.
So, if you guys out there can comment, I believe that we've opened up the group chat.
I don't know, man. I think we had this last time, and they weren't able to ask questions last time.
I am so filled with rage and hatred. I hate the rage that's welling up inside of me.
Google, with all this money, they can't seem to get this quite right, and it's so not intuitive. It's the opposite of intuitive.
It really is. It's sad. Okay, questions.
What is the opposite of intuitive? Is it detuitive? I don't know.
Counterintuitive, man. Counterintuitive.
So not okay.
See, but what the heck? Something just changed on mine. Okay, I don't know what to do. If anybody out there is like a computer genius, and you can private message one of us and tell us that the button that is right in front of your face, idiot, is the one that you need to press to make this work, I'll say thank you, and I'll rise up and call you blessed. But because I don't know what it is. Tommy and I can communicate with each other, but how do we do this? Maybe there's choose links. There's choose links.
So anyway, guess what I did today?
No, I will not guess. You have to tell me.
I'm going to tell you. So I'm driving down the road, and I'm driving past this place that I've passed, I don't know, a dozen times or more, way more than a dozen, but I've noticed this guy has a bunch of hives outside. So I go past this house. I was on my way to the store, and I said, you know what, dang it, I'm going to turn around and go see if this guy's out there. So I make a U-turn. I pull in his driveway, and sure enough, there's a guy out there in the driveway pulling weeds up with like an old flathead screwdriver or something. Yeah, he's out there pulling weeds. The guy's pretty old. And I pulled up, and he kind of wasn't sure what I was doing there at first, but I said, "Hey, how you doing? Are those your bees?" And immediately a smile came across his face, because apparently I'm not the only nut bar that stops to talk to him about his bees. Apparently it happens quite a bit. And so I chatted with him for over an hour. This guy's a master beekeeper. He's been keeping bees for 40 plus years.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's a member of 2 associations. He gives a lot of talks on bees, and he kind of tried to feel me out to see what I knew, why I wanted to do it. And we had a good conversation. And I was surprised. I surprised myself, Brad, because I actually knew a little more of the lingo than I gave myself credit for. See, I've been cramming for this test with YouTube vids. And
Yeah.
and anyway, we exchanged numbers. I'm going to buy my nuke from him.
Cool.
Buy a nuke rather than a package of bees. And he told me why he sells nukes and not packages anymore. And anyway, so I said, "Hey, would you mind if I came down? You know, if you needed help, I'd be glad to lend a hand. And the only exchange here is that I get to learn some of the things you already know."
And that is absolutely the way it goes, man. That is the best way to do it. Get your hands in there. You know, make sure you cuff your pant legs.
Yeah, I don't want an eggplant. Actually, it would forego the surgery I have scheduled.
Ah!
It would make that surgery a moot point, you know, the enlargement surgery. So
Oh, have you ever? This is sidetrack weird stuff. But you ever seen? You like those movies by the Spinal Tap people?
hello, Cleveland.
Hello, Cleveland. Well, those guys do a bunch of movies that are all similar. They're kind of not scripted, and they just get themselves into situations and go.
Yeah.
Well, they did a movie called Waiting for Guffman, and it's basically a small town out in the middle of nowhere, and they're doing a sesquicentennial celebration. And so they hired this big time actor or a producer from New York. Well, they thought he was big time. It turns out it's Christopher Guest, and he's as gay gets, and he's the flaming director, and his buddy has to have reduction surgery.
Well, I just want to say I'm uncomfortable with this conversation right now.
That's happened a lot lately, man.
I know. So my son and I were working out. We've been lifting a little bit lately.
You're pumping
And,
the iron.
Yeah, a little bit. And I start laughing because he goes, "Oh, what are you laughing about?" And I said, Pastor Joe Fox's theme song. He goes, "What song is that?" Like he thought it was a real song.
It's called the Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin.
Right. But I mean, he thought it was a real song called Pastor Joe Fox's theme song.
I totally love
I've
that.
heard that song before, and I said it's a Led Zeppelin song. Anyway, I said, "Did you watch that episode?" He said, "Yeah, Mommy said you and Mr. Brad were drunk."
And you know what's funny? We got so many eggnog comments and stuff.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it was not true. It was absolutely not true.
I haven't had a drop to drink in quite a while.
Well, I'm not going that far, but
Yeah. But no, it was that was fun. I got a kick out of that, just being
yeah.
complete
So the beekeeping is in effect. What's this guy's name? Does he have like a crazy, awesome, weird old person name, or is he got a normal name? Like, "Hi, I'm Steve."
It was Bill. No, it's pretty normal. I could tell in the brief time that we spent that this guy is just a wealth full of knowledge, but he's also old school, Southern, doesn't get to the point. You ask him a question, it takes 9 minutes to get to the question. He tells you everything around it. But those are the kind of guys that you can learn a lot from if you just shut up and listen, which is tough for me to do. But in that case,
yeah, go ahead.
I said, you know, in that case, I forced myself to try to shut my mouth and just take in everything he's saying. Because even though he's not answering my question that I asked him just now, he's answering 6 other questions I might have later on.
Absolutely. Now, I got a question for you. This is going to be completely left field, and this is something you don't probably know much about me. I might have shared in the past, but how far are you away from Burlington?
Burlington, North Carolina?
Yep.
A couple hours, I think.
Okay. Because I know where there's buried treasure in Burlington.
I think you told me about this one time.
This is absolutely a crazy, crazy true story. Well, first of all, the history behind it is, and the reason why it even came to mind is because you're meeting this old guy who's like a sage wisdom in the field of beekeeping. Well, I have a friend who actually learned how to douse, you know, like find water and stuff in the ground from this old dude named Ovid. And it's a long story that I won't bore everybody with now, but I've been to this place where there's supposedly Civil War gold buried, and I actually did the history, you know, checking it out. And sure enough, basically when the North was sacking the South was emptying all of the banks and all of their depositories of all the gold. They were putting them in army cooking pots, sent them off in a train, and said, okay, bury these in groups of 3, 50 yards off of the main line. And basically they got run down after they had buried several of them, and everybody got killed. So nobody knew where these things were. Well, Ovid, he was a dowser, and long story short, I know where there's some gold in them thar hills.
Well, just another reason for you to get off your butt and make a trip down.
Oh, my Lanta, dude. I'll tell you what, I got poison ivy so bad that I was there last time. And you know what's crazy is that the fellow that had this knowledge, this was a buddy of mine from Florida. We approached the people that own the property because he's like, you have to do this right. If you actually find anything, you know, the government will come and take it or whatever, or you'll get sued or whatever. You got to work it out with the owner in advance. There's no to do it. So he approached this landowner. The landowner said, yeah, man, there's been several people here over the past 10 years come wanting to dig on our property for gold. So it's like a commonly held thing, I guess, in the treasure hunting industry, if you will.
They actually had there was a TV show about that where these guys would go out and just hunt for treasure, and they found so many pieces of jewelry or rare coins over the years. But I think one of the episodes they did just about that, where they were hunting for Civil War gold.
It's and I guess that stuff buried and blah blah blah.
Well, I guess these guys that were burying it also left kind of markings.
They did
trees and stuff. So you know you had to figure out what the markings meant, and these guys thought they knew it, but of course on the TV show they never found anything. It's kind of like that Bigfoot show. How many times?
They're always hunting him. They're always hunting him, but they're never finding him.
How many times am I going to watch that dang show, thinking that they're actually going to find Bigfoot? In every single show, they never find a thing.
And how do they getting these shows funded? Because people watch it.
People watch it. I watched it, and I was hooked. I'm like, all right, maybe next episode they'll find Bigfoot. After about 20 episodes, I'm like, they're never going to find Bigfoot.
No, it's crazy though. But you know, these guys find stuff all the time, man. In my personal experience, I was really put off initially by this friend of mine who was like, yeah, I can find stuff in the ground. And he would actually, he had dowsing rods, which were like metal rods in the shape of an L, and he'd hold them. And then he'd walk around the yard, and then they would just cross. And I'm like, you're doing that, man. You're faking it.
So is that something that he taught you how to do, or is that just something you put in your hands and it does it?
No, not me. He was taught how to do it by another guy, and it was really weird because it was a blurry line between magnetism and faith. And okay. He's just like, and I didn't believe him, but I had a recording studio that I owned, and we were adding on an addition to it, and he had to find the water because he needed not to dig on the water. And he takes me outside. He goes, watch this. And he's walking around. He's going, and he goes, and we're not even near the house. We're a good 50 feet away from the house. And he sticks the thing down in the ground. And he goes, your water's right here. It's about 2 feet down. And I'm like, oh, whatever. And sure enough, dug it up, and it was there, right on the spot.
Is that something that he taught you? Like, could you learn how to do that, or is that? I don't know.
He described it to me. Now, I imagine that everybody has their own experience with dowsing, but the way that he explained it to me was, I am already predisposed to think that it's mumbo jumbo, therefore I won't be able to tune in to the right frequency to do it.
Gotcha.
He said you have to be open to whatever the possibility that it's real.
It makes sense. So you're basically locating energy, and since everything's energy and your energy and these things are energy, I would imagine you have to be, like you said, dialed into that frequency for the energy to pass through you, through the rods to whatever. I don't know. I'm just talking crap now.
Dude, no. Well, it's crazy because the way that he described the guy that taught him, Ovid, O-V-I-D, he said that he would not use the rods. He would actually have like a map, and then he would have like a pendulum on a string or a chain or something. He'd sit there and bounce this thing. And he would go, okay, 3 feet over, 5 feet over. Okay, dig now, 6 feet or 6 inches down. You're going to find something gold. And he would.
Wow.
It's just nuts. And the guy has experience, and he's found stuff from like Nazi treasure up in Long Island. That big thing that happened like 20 years ago.
Why was there Nazi treasure in Long Island? I had no idea.
That's a whole big story in and of itself. There's a lot of people that think that Hitler and his upper guys got away in a U-boat. And I don't know if that's true, but there was Nazi paraphernalia found in the beaches of New York.
I mean, there's plenty of Nazis here in the States, and there were plenty of Nazis back then. No, I'm not even kidding.
There's plenty of Nazis in our administration.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But now I heard that Hitler supposedly escaped to South America, lived out a long life, and had children. I think I heard he had 4 children.
Well, that's part of this story. Is they think that they stopped here first, and
they took the Underground Railroad in reverse, and next thing you know, he was in Bolivia.
No, I think they had to. I mean, you can't drive a U-boat all the way around the world without like fuel and stuff and food.
I don't know. I thought they got great mileage, but what do I know?
They're diesel. What are you gonna do? They're gonna gel up if it gets cold out, right?
Damn diesel engines.
So, but this Ovid, he's found all these crazy treasures. And actually, I've been with my buddy, and I'm not going to name his name because I don't know if he would not want me. I mean, not a lot of people want to associate with me. So
no, I don't blame him. I'm going to start wearing a mask.
Yeah, that'd be cool, actually. We should be like luchadors. Luchador. Get the mask on, and you get the unitard. Not me. But yeah, I've been with him, and he's found stuff, and it's crazy. And then well, treasure hunting it's a different breed of people, man. I've been with him. He's been with folks that have ground penetrating radar, and they find all kinds of stuff. And when we lived in Southwest Florida, it was like Bradenton, Sarasota area, and it was a known pirate hangout. People were finding stuff all the time from back when pirates would go up in the coves and up the rivers and stuff.
That's pretty wild.
And I'll tell you what, if you think prepping is a bug that will bite you and you become obsessed, I have never seen people get obsessed like treasure hunters ever in my life. If they find a trinket of something, they're hooked for life.
No, I get that. I think that's pretty neat. And there's something to be said about being able to unearth something and be the first set of human eyes to lay sight upon it in hundreds of years or thousands of years. I think that's pretty rad.
So tell me now, since we've got an audience of 18 and we cannot communicate with them, this is so maddening. How can we get the stupid chat to work?
I don't know.
Press whatever button you want to press. I don't know. But now, hey, I want to talk for just a minute about your son's YouTube channel.
Oh, wait a second, I can see it.
What now?
I can see it.
See what?
I see questions. You got to click on Q&A and see questions.
I did that. It says testing.
Comments and chat are disabled on YouTube, and it says, "Can you see this, Brad?" But there is an annotation in the video frame that let me click on it. You can't see this. Dirty Dirt Farm Homestead. Hi, Dirty Dirt Farm Homestead.
Okay, I can't see it. What am I supposed to be clicking on?
All right, so go over to the left-hand side. You see Q&A.
Yes.
All right, so you click on Q&A.
And then mine goes away. Oh, there they are.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's working. How is Monday? Oh. Yes, I can see. Okay, got it. Hi, Dirty Dirt Farm. Comments are disabled on YouTube. No, it says select. Select. I'm selecting.
All right. Well, I can see John Finzel.
I can see John.
See Gravy something or other. They just disappeared. Currently answering. Anyway.
confusing. If you guys can actually, okay, questions. Go to questions. Okay. How is Monday? Monday's great, Dirty Dirt Farm, or you can't see this. Now we can see this. I don't know if you guys have hung with us. Can anybody ask a question? Because we don't know if anything's happened differently. It's very frustrating.
Anyway, well, look at that. Yeah, no, I could see why getting back to this treasure hunting thing. I could see why where that would be a bug that once bitten by it is tough to shake.
Well,
Lyme
and, have I told you the story about this guy's when he found treasure, quote unquote treasure, in a house he used to live in?
No.
Are you sure?
Maybe.
Because I don't want to give away the end.
Go ahead.
Okay. This individual, basically, he was a construction worker kind of guy, lived hand to mouth, barely got into this home that he and his wife bought. And I guess the way he put it was he wasn't the best with his money. And so he had spent the money for rent or mortgage, right? So he's in this house, and they had bought it, and it was an estate sale kind of thing. And so all the furniture's there. And his wife is kind of irritated with him because they don't have money for their mortgage payment. And he throws his hands up, and they're having an argument. And he goes, well, what do you want me to do? And he kind of puts his hand down on the couch, and he feels something up underneath the lip of the couch. Well, from what I understand, he said that he felt something and grabbed it, pulled out an envelope with about $5,000. And turns out that this woman that had owned the house was a hoarder, and she had grown up through, the Depression. And so they didn't put their money in banks. They didn't trust it. Okay, now Dirty Dirt Farm Homestead. I gotta pause. We'll come back to the story. I'm telling you, chat and comments on YouTube are disabled. I clicked the annotation inside the video frame, and it brought me to the window. Okay, so she's typing to us now, and I can see Gray V11. I can see Binzel. I just don't know what we're supposed to be doing differently.
Well, I think maybe you have to go to the YouTube on the Homestead Nation channel and
Let me try that.
Enable comments.
Okay, I am on Google Plus. So I need to go to YouTube.
I'm guessing. I don't know. It'd be nice if
I'm on
Dirty Dirt Farm Homestead seems to know a lot about this, so maybe she can
sure
tell us.
does. Okay, so YouTube settings. I'm in. This is so frustrating.
What does one grow on a dirty dirt farm?
Pickles. Duh. Okay, I'm in the settings, my channel.
Yeah, Haley 126 just said, "Hey, got the chat, but watch live stream on another tab." Weird. Yeah, no kidding.
View additional features. Dear Lord in heaven. Okay, live streaming. I'm into stream now beta. The stream is offline. Whatever. Events. Yeah.
So while you're doing that, I'll just share with people that I did something kind of special today. After the bee thing, and I was pretty stoked about the whole bee thing, meeting that master beekeeper. I came home and set up a little chat with my buddy, the DIY kid. So I got to do we did like a 38-minute video or 40-minute video where we just chatted about stuff, about the channels, about some of the things that we talk about at home that maybe I shouldn't bring up to a 12-year-old, even though I want to share things with my family. Some things I shouldn't share. But that was neat. So if that should be up, I don't know, late tonight or tomorrow sometime, if you guys want to check out that video. Kind of, I get a lot of questions, and I mentioned this in the video. I get a lot of questions from people that say, well, what about your family? Is your family on board? My wife isn't, my girlfriend is, that sort of thing. And so this is kind of that conversation and looking at certain things through a kid's perspective, through a 12-year-old's perspective. And it's kind of neat to see that perspective. Maybe it'll help some of you people out there when you're talking to your family about some of the things that we're learning along this awakening process. Maybe it'll just be a source of entertainment. I don't know. Maybe you'll hate it and unsubscribe. That's a possibility too.
Where
I
are you
hope not.
going with this, bro? I mean, this is just. I'm seeing people typing questions now, and I don't know if I did anything different. I was just over at YouTube, but I clicked in YouTube, and now I think I am in G Plus. I have streaming and chat in G Plus now. Okay, so maybe this is
And
working.
here's
Maybe
here's a
somebody
question.
asked a question.
Here's a question answered by Dirty Dirt Farm Homestead. I asked, "What do you grow out there?" She said, "Worms naturally and lots of firewood."
Oh, there it is. Now I just saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe this is working. Maybe we're
No,
just
I don't
rock on
think so.
now. Okay,
I-
so tell
I
me
think
more about what is the conversation between you and the DIY kid like? What's it going to be like?
It was kind of eye opening from the perspective. He and we talk a lot, and sometimes I go a little too deep into subjects that I probably shouldn't with a 12-year-old. But while we're talking, I kind of forget the fact that he's a kid, because we have sometimes, and I know you know this with 27 kids. Sometimes you have adult conversations, and you forget that they're younger than they actually are. So it was just kind of neat. Brought up the thing. Well, when you first started down this path, we thought you were crazy.
Wow. Well, I'm with you, dude. And what you're saying, it's this is wrong. This is so wrong. But you're talking about talking about stuff you shouldn't really talk to about 12-year-old kid. The only thing I can think of is that movie Airplane, and the pilot always talking to that little kid. Hey, Billy, you ever seen a grown man naked?
I don't remember that scene. I don't know. I'm one of those guys that never remember scenes from movies, and
Are you
you're
kidding
one of those guys that
Airplane
remembers.
is the best.
I remember all the scenes.
I picked a terrible day to quit sniffing glue.
Oh no, I just don't remember that stuff.
I can't believe that, man. Well, we gotta watch Airplane. Maybe we can, when we figure this stupid thing out, maybe we can crowdsource it where you and I get to watch Airplane and everybody else gets to comment on us being stupid.
Everyone else gets to comment on us commenting.
That'd be funny. Okay, I got a question from, it looks like Eric Hess.
Yeah.
What was Tommy talking about? The master beekeeper. Go, Tommy, go.
What was Tommy talking about? The master. Okay, so
he touched me. He touched me.
I was driving down the road, and I saw a bunch of hives. And I've driven by this guy's place before, and now I'm getting close to starting my own hive. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to pass by again. Turned around and went to his house. He happened to be out there, and I talked to this guy. He's 83 years old. He's been beekeeping for 40 plus years. And he has something like, I think he said 85 hives out there.
Woo!
That's a big operation. And he says he's downsized. He's downsized. So at one point he had over 200 hives on his property.
Okay, let me ask you this, and this is going to sound like a very weird question at first, but how big was his house?
It wasn't that big, but he had 7 acres of property.
See, that's the thing. I'll tell you what, everything I've ever read about beekeepers or my own experience is they say that if you want to get into beekeeping for money, pick any other profession and you'll be a millionaire.
Now this guy, interesting, he worked for Norfolk Southern Railroad, and he said he did something with the box cars, but when they switched over to container cars, his job kind of got downsized, outsourced, it disappeared.
Wow.
And so they offered him a buyout package, and I think he was about, I don't know, 45 years old at the time, or 50. Woo. And so he took it, and he was looking at his wife, and he had 2 hives out in the yard, and he said, what am I going to do? And she said, go out and take care of your bees. And he said, a couple years later, I had 100 hives, and then it turned into 200. And he was selling nukes, he was selling boxes, he was making them and selling them, he was selling honey. He was doing all kinds of cool stuff, and we're just chatting out in his driveway, just talking about it. And he asked me a little bit about myself. So long story short, I have his number. I will use his number, even if I don't hear from him. He will hear from me. And I said, "Do you mind if I stop back again?" He said, "Anytime you want, come on by." So I'm gonna stop by and give him a call and see if I can come out and help him. But he'll be helping me.
No, that's exactly how it works too, man. And so, okay, I'm just going over the questions here on the side, and I think we're getting the hang of this, maybe a little bit. But John Lord says, you finally getting this comment, question mark. YouTube settings mucked. Now getting through with G+. So if that helps any of you guys out there, John Lord's getting through with G+. And hey, Wayne's Homestead, I see you there, brother. How you doing? Hey. We need real questions, guys. You know, the worms. Let's go back to a Dirty Dirt Farm. She's farming worms, and that's pretty amazing.
What else?
I don't know. I don't want to know. Well, no, I do want to know. I'm just kidding.
Oh, she's putting up trees and bushes too, blueberry bushes, and I think she's putting trees.
Awesome. So the thing is this, guys, it's kind of weird the way the questions pop up. I'm scrolling through left and right and up and down, and they pop up kind of funny. The last one I got was from Wayne's Homestead that says, hey. And he's got a +2 on him. I don't know what that means. That means, like, if we were into Dungeons and Dragons, he would have 2 hits for your 1 hit for, you know, if you're up against elves or werewolves. So
You always got to go back to D&D. What a dork!
come on, man. You didn't have Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh no, we had it. We just didn't participate in it. We left that up to the nerds.
Thank you very much.
We left it up to the guys that were going to grow up to be 40-something-year-old dudes that were freaking out over this new Star Wars movie that came out.
Yes, absolutely. You know, okay. It says here, John Lord. Oh no, that doesn't work like chat. Tab says you can look at questions, answered questions, and your questions. Does Brad use YouTube for his Sunday Night Live? Okay, Sunday Night Live, guys, what I do is I actually have an encoding software called Open Broadcast, and it works with YouTube, and all I have to do is set the settings up in Open Broadcast, and it works. It just, YouTube grabs the stream, and it works. The problem with this Google Plus thing is it doesn't work the same way because Tommy and I, the Open Broadcast software works because I'm sitting next to my wife, and we're talking. But Tommy's in the Carolinas, and I'm in Ohio, so this is the only way we've figured out how to do it where we're separate, but you guys still can ask questions. So if anybody has a suggestion on how to make this work.
I do. Maybe instead of going from the Google Plus page, what if we went from the YouTube page and clicked on live broadcast? Can we invite one another to a live broadcast on YouTube?
I have no idea. I mean, this is the furthest we've gotten, though.
Every day is a new adventure and a new piece conquered to this puzzle. Why is it going to be so difficult? Why is it so damn difficult?
I know. So it's like I don't want to shut this off because actually we can see people asking questions. And it's working to a degree, but it's not working right.
Okay, Margaret's got a couple of questions.
Margaret, where are you at, Margaret?
Oliver. She said, who's next to interview? That's her first one. And her second one was, gosh, and it just disappears.
Okay, well, I'll answer the first one, Margaret. What are you doing next Tuesday?
What?
Well, she asked who's next to be interviewed. I'm saying, what are you doing next Tuesday?
Margaret.
Come on, step up.
Yeah, we don't have anyone scheduled. I will say this, that we interviewed Pastor Joe Fox, I guess it was last week, and man, I feel horrible about this. We did a great interview with him a couple of months ago, and if you've been watching these videos that we've been doing, then you know that Brad had a problem with the update of his Microsoft Windows 10, and he lost 4 interviews. So we went back and we redid 2 of them, and we did one with Pastor Joe Fox, but now we have another. I have some more technical issues with this one, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to get it to work. I'm still trying. Pastor Joe, I'm so sorry.
I swear, though, we really need to just consider going to my idea of the sock puppet show idea, where we just have like different YouTubers as sock puppets. We can have the googly eyes, so they go like that kind of thing. And well, we can have one long beard that's angry all the time, and it smells like patchouli. And then you can have one over here. What would mine be like? Just bleached and always like stupid.
Now, Margaret, here's the other one. How did you get past the initial self-criticism posting to YouTube? I don't know if this is for me or for Brad or for both of us, but I guess I'll go first. You just do it. And honestly, I just didn't watch anything that I did. So, because I don't like the way I sound, I don't like the way I look. I'm one of those guys where I don't want to see myself or hear myself. So I just didn't watch. And thankfully, the people that did watch were encouraging. And so that was real helpful and kept me going.
Well, for me, I'm just over 1 year doing this at all. I started on Christmas Day last year, and I was in a band, had the record label blah, blah, blah thing going for a while. And I learned on real quickly that some people are going to like you, some people are not going to like you. And I never really kind of cared. Although I will say this, it was funny, and Tommy, you can talk about this too, is that when I first started doing this, it was kind of like, I'm just doing this and it's fun, and the interaction was great. And like he's saying, a lot of positive comments. But the thing is that I never really expected to give one rat's booty if somebody commented really negatively until they did. And then it was like, oh, why don't they like my video on worm composting? I love my video on worm composting, and I am very knowledgeable about worm composting. How could they thumb down my video on worm composting? And then I would call Tommy and be like, dude, they thumbed down my video on worm composting.
I got a thumbs down today.
And you can talk about that too, because it's like you don't expect it to bother you, and then all of a sudden you're like, why would they thumb down me talking about warm, fuzzy pixie dust?
Definitely, it's a whole different animal when you're just watching videos versus when you're creating content. And I just think differently. So now I act differently when I'm commenting on somebody's page. I tend not to thumbs down anything now. If I don't like it, I just don't say anything. I try not to thumbs down people. Just because I realize the work that goes into this, and I realize that in many cases, like for instance, I was out and I put up a video the other day of this last weekend down at the cabin. It takes so much longer to move cameras around and make sure that you have the camera set up in the right angle and it's focused, and it makes the job so much tougher that when I watch other videos of people creating content, I realize what they really had to go through to do it. And even if I didn't like it, I can respect the amount of work that went into it. So,
yeah. So long story short is that I think everybody's going to have their own journey with this thing. But I will say that right now, well, no, I'm not even going to be bashful about it. I am so grateful for having met Tommy early in this process, because he and I, we've been sounding boards for each other. And when you get frustrated and somebody says something just stupid and they'll get under your skin, there are people that are absolute trolls that get on your channel and they're just not happy people. And then they got to make you unhappy. And the thing is that a person that is willing to do this, clearly you want people to enjoy what you're doing, or else you wouldn't do it. So when somebody just gets on there and is nasty and has vitriol and venom in them, I am very blessed to have found Tommy early on, because it was a vent for me that you could just talk to somebody who understands what you're going through. And it was a way that for me to keep going when I'd been like, screw this, I'm not doing this anymore, this sucks. Right. And I mean, you can say whatever you want about it too, but for me, it was just absolutely great to have somebody that, no, they're just stupid.
Yeah, no, you and I talk about that quite a bit, and now we get a kick out of. It seems like
preparedness is here. I saw that. Wait a minute, what just happened? Where is he? Yes, wait, I got a guitar around here somewhere. All right, here we go. It's not as loud as an acoustic. Ready? Come from the land of the ice and snow. Yes. And you got to know, man, it says right here, Hammer of the Gods.
Yeah. All right, so,
man, you just brought all kinds of joy to my world, bro.
I'm on YouTube and I'm looking for where we can allow comments, and I just don't see it, man.
Well, he just commented he was singing the immigrant song in text. He was singing it.
Oh,
That is hardcore. You gotta love it.
that's insanity. No, I don't see it. You know, this Google thing is just
No, but now actually, Pastor Joe Fox, since we can see you and we know there's some degree of communication happening, we don't know what level. Tommy asked you a question that I asked before, and I did not get to hear the answer. So here's the thing: when we interviewed Pastor Joe Fox, who, keep in mind, party people of YouTube, he is former Special Forces, and what else? He has a degree in kick-assology, and he also loves Jesus, which that you can't go wrong with love. But I asked him a question that will haunt your dreams, and that is this: boxers or briefs? And Tommy, since you are here, and I don't know if he can type, let's give him a second, but the question is boxers or briefs? Pastor Joe, if you don't see a typed question or answer, then Tommy will answer. But now keep in mind, Pastor Joe Fox, Shofar Mountain, kickasology, that's one word. It's not like, you know. And so boxers or briefs, and let's see if we get an answer. He's probably, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he, okay, doesn't work like that. LOL, yeah. Wayne.
okay. I'll tell you what he said.
Tell
He said, well, I'm Special Forces, so I go commando. I'm not sure what that means, but
no, I'm exactly sure what. Oh, he did. He got it, dude. I was like, oh yes, well done, sir. Well done. Touche. Touche. No, actually, though, since we've got you on the chat here, and it appears to be working, I saw a video that you had made just a couple days ago. And by the way, folks, if you do not know Viking Preparedness Channel, you have to get to know them now. Go over to the channel. Pastor Joe Fox is a baller, and you will learn a ton. But he just did a video on the 3 most important guns for preparedness and homesteading and preppers. And I want to know, out of those 3 videos, or out of those 3 guns, I am not gonna refer to all of them, but if you had to pick one gun, you can only have one. Which is the Mac Daddy for your situation? PJF, the texting and typing is all you. Now we wait in awkward silence.
I got something I'll throw in there real quick.
Okay.
We had somebody say, hey, what about a live interview? I wonder if Pastor Joe Fox, since he's on right now. And
wait a minute, we can probably do that. Hold on, I bet I can. Hold on.
Do it.
I'm doing it.
Well, that's if he'll accept it. But I mean, he's sitting there hanging out, and we keep screwing up these taped interviews.
Here it goes. I am inviting him. Bam! I just clicked it. The invitation is yours. The gauntlet has been thrown. I don't know if it can even work with. I mean, he might be on a phone. I mean, I don't know. Of course, in his case, it's probably one of them crank radio things they have that you see in the World War II movies. He's out with the solar thing going, no, we got to, I need a medic.
You need some help.
Yes, I do. Serious, expensive help.
So what else is going on in your neck of the woods? You had family up for
you responded, okay. Viking Preparedness, Glock. Are we talking 45 Glock? And by the way, you've been invited, dude. So all you got to do is accept it. Accept your invitation. It's a free invitation. Think of it like grace, Pastor Joe Fox. You can't earn this invitation. I had to bestow it upon you. That's not how grace works. I don't bestow grace.
You're such a goof.
It says, how do I accept? I don't know, bro. I'm going to invite you again. I'm doing it right now. You talk, Tommy.
I just love the fact that people are asking us how to work this thing. I mean, we obviously don't have a clue.
Invite. Bam. Just happened again. Maybe look in your email. Did that work for you, Tommy?
No, it didn't.
Your
I ended up going to I ended up going to Google Hangouts, and I saw there was an invitation in the corner. I clicked on it, clicked on another thing. It's convoluted. They, like I said, they haven't made this easy. And for all the money and all the brainiacs they have working there at Google, you think they would have figured this out.
Well, you know, it's hard to make it Glock 19. There's the answer right there. Glock 19. No, that's from
Southeast Michigan Homestead.
Yeah,
Hey, Matt.
Huh?
I said, hey, Matt, what's happening?
What up, brother?
You know what? We got to have Matt on here at some point. Matt's got some cool stuff going on at Southeast Michigan Homestead.
It's a double dog dare, and actually, I don't know. I've seen some of the comments, and Southeast Michigan Homesteading is actually asking to be on the schedule. So I think we just need to schedule that.
Okay.
Absolutely. So okay,
I'll reach out to you, Matt.
You might be on to something, Eric Hess. I agree that Tommy probably is on something. I don't know what exactly you're
on to something.
What? Dude.
I'm high on life, my friend. High on life.
Are you now?
I am.
Okay, here's a turn of this is completely, well, I actually called Tommy earlier today, and here's the thing. One of my sons, he's my second eldest. He has just gotten a job, and it's a seasonal job, and he's been working, and he's been making money, and he's actually been saving money, which is kind of a miracle when you're talking about a 15-year-old teenager, right? And the thing is that we were talking about, okay, how much percentage of your income are you going to actually save? And then we got to talking about, well, if the likelihood of a economic problem is going to happen in the country, why would you want to have paper dollars? Wouldn't you want to have something more real, like metals or something that will accrue in value? And so I called Tommy up. I'm like, well, dude, now if you're a teenager and this is the situation, what would be your recommendation for, you know, percentages? Should he put like as much of it as he can? Should he put 10%, 15, 20% into buy like silver, you know, silver rounds or whatever? And so I'm going to shut up now and I'm going to say what Tommy said, because I thought there was absolutely a lot of wisdom in what he had to say.
Well, I don't know about that. And I've actually thought about it some more. So when you're 15, and I guess I didn't know he was 15. I thought he was older than that. But any money that he can put away in a silver, I say do it. Bravo. The fact that he's thinking about that at that age is awesome. I also said if I were him, I would look at Silver Eagles and or Canadian Maple Leafs versus generic rounds, just because the price isn't that much different, and the government minted coins are going to be more widely recognizable around the globe. And they're also worth more if you go to trade them back in. You pay a little bit more for them, but you get a little bit more. But there's that extra value of them being so widely recognizable. They're going to be in a variety of circumstances. My guess is that they're going to be more sought after than, say, your typical old Buffalo silver round. Somebody made a comment on a video that I mentioned, or that I put up about precious metals a while back, that said he's not sure, you know, how are people going to transact in metals? You know, there's going to be forgers out there, counterfeits, fakes, and that's true. And I guess the government minted metals, it's going to be less likely that they're counterfeit, I would imagine. So that's another reason to get it. But the other thing about metals at that age is whatever you put into metal at that point is you're just exchanging your paper dollars for metal. I don't look at it as though I'm spending money. I'm just exchanging it for real money. Whatever he puts into metal, the chances are that it's going to stay there for a long period of time, meaning it's not like he's wadding up bills and putting them in his shoe drawer, or his sock drawer, I should say. And in the first time a new game comes out that he wants, he's going to go take that money and spend it. This is a lot less liquid, and he's going to have to keep it there, I think, for a prolonged period of time, which is a good thing. So anyway.
And from a parent's perspective, to be honest, after I got off the phone call with you, I went and tried to brain dump all the information you said to me to my wife and my sons. And that was probably the single biggest thing that I thought was actually absolutely valuable, not only from the parent's perspective, but the fact that the idea is it's supposed to be savings. Yep. And you're not supposed to be able to go and just cash it in on a whim. And if it's a little more difficult to cash it in, you're more likely to think twice about the purchase, the spur of the moment purchase that you're going to make. Yep. And while they weren't excited about that aspect of it, they thought, well, this is probably something that's going to be good for a teenager because, yeah, I want to go buy 500 cases of Mountain Dew. No, I don't want to wait around on that.
No, listen, here's the truth is maybe a year ago I started talking to my kids about this, and I said, well, why don't you take some of your savings and put it in the silver? So they each bought 10 ounces of silver. Yeah, I think at the time it was $19 or $20 an ounce. So in dollar terms, it's gone down since then. But they've never once said, hey, I'm going to cash in my silver. But they have asked about the remaining balance in their bank account. Like, oh, well, I got money in there for this and for that. So it definitely is out of sight, out of mind. Plus, you get to talk to them and hold the money in the hand. And it's a different way of looking at money. It's pretty neat. It's a good experience. Hey, Mossy Nut, good job. Thanks to me, you're stacking silver. Don't say that yet. If it goes to $10 an ounce, you're going to hate me.
No. I'll tell you what, dude. No, going back to the whole treasure hunter thing, there is something intoxicating about holding it in your hand, and there's tangible something to it, and there's weight, and you know that it's of value. And here's the thing. Like, I talk all the time to my wife about, okay, what's a 9mm gun worth today? Okay, well, simple. It depends. I mean, it could be up to $1,000 unless you're stupid and you have more money than brains, and you buy like really expensive guns down to a couple $100, whatever. 9mm reliable pistol. Okay, so let's just say on average it's going to be worth $400-ish right now today. Tell me how much it's going to be worth. Get one, and you have to protect your family. Now, what's it worth?
Priceless.
Exactly the same day. You cannot get money in a tangible way to trade for goods and services and whatever. How the heck, or what's it going to be worth then?
Yeah, I firmly believe that all markets have been manipulated post 2008, and you could make an argument that a lot of markets were manipulated to some degree prior to 2008. But post 2008, everything's been manipulated, and precious metals market is one of those things that have been so heavily manipulated. The powers that be need to do two things to keep this Ponzi scheme afloat as long as they can. They need to keep the stock market pumped up, and the Dow Jones seems to be the average that they're most focused on. They need to keep that pumped up, and they need to keep precious metal prices just beaten down. They can do those two things. They can continue to delude the masses out there that everything's okay. But what happens if next quarter you open your 401k statement and you're down 20%, and you look over at silver and it's $28 an ounce, up from $14 an ounce? All of a sudden, real quick, you start to realize that, oh, everything that they've been telling me isn't true, and things start to unravel quickly. So I don't know when that's going to happen, but I do believe that eventually everything reverts back to the mean. And as long as something spins on the north side of the mean, the high side of average, it has to go through that mean mark, that average mark, and spend as much time below it to get to the average. So I think we're well below the true value of silver and gold right now, more so silver. And eventually they've been pressing down and beating down in the metals prices so for so long, it's coiled up like this spring that's, when it snaps, it's like holding a beach ball underwater. It's just going to shoot up through the top of the surface. And that's one of the reasons why I invest in metal.
Wow. Okay, well, Pastor Joe Fox is saying, I taught all my kids to save 10. I'm assuming 10%. And I will say this, that, that's awesome. I have my kids deceived into thinking that 50% is a great plan. I don't know why they bought it, but they bought it. So I'm glad. But, question.
Good place to start.
Go ahead.
I said that's a great place to start, 50%.
Well, and then if we whittle it down to 40, everybody wins, right?
Right.
So, but a question for Pastor Joe Fox, and that is this. Doggone it, I forgot it. Son of a bean cracker.
My fault.
No.
Fault.
It was 10%. What was it? Was it 10%? Doggone it. I'll remember it.
A lot of people say pay yourself first. So when you get paid, pay yourself first, meaning pay yourself and put it in savings first. That's the first thing you should do when you're saving. That's what a lot of people say. 10%, I think, is a good place to start. Most Americans don't do that. In fact, most Americans don't, not only do they not save anything, but they actually spend more than they make. That's the sad reality. So if at 15 years old, you can save 10% of what you make and actually put it somewhere where it grows above the rate of inflation, or at least keeps pace with inflation, you should be fine if and when you get the chance to retire. Regardless of how much money you make. I've met people in my career that literally never get above a guy working in a widget shop in a manufacturing plant making $8, $10, $12 an hour their career. But they retire with $500,000 or $750,000 because they invested it and just time was on their side. So at 15, you got an extra 10 years on your side, because most people don't start putting any money away until well after they get out of college.
Well, okay, I did remember the question.
Yeah.
I got two. First of all, Pastor Joe Fox, what is your favorite, except because I know, I mean, praise and worship music is probably up there for you. It is for me too. But outside of praise and worship music, what kind of bands do you like? Do you like rock and roll bands? Do you like country bands? If you can name any bands, great. So that's for Pastor Joe Fox. You type like the wind, bullseye. But we are graced with the presence of Dirt Patch Heaven. Dirt Patch Heaven's here. Hey, and by the way, I did text you or communicate via the Google machine. We got your seeds today, so thank you. And but she has a comment here. We have the kids invest in new skills that they can then market themselves. We should start having them save actual money. We do pay tithing, but we haven't had the kids do savings yet. Now that's interesting. I'm curious, and I know it's difficult to communicate why you don't have them do savings yet, but it sounds to me like you're trying to have them invest into skills that will make them money, and that is kind of the idea of a savings plan. What do you agree with that, T-Bone?
I think that's great, and that's probably even more important than saving part of your allowance. But I think you can do both simultaneously, no doubt about it. It doesn't have to be one or the other, all or none. I think it's smart to do both. Most of the kids that my kids go to school with come home and tell me, geez, so-and-so does this and so-and-so has that. And, all my daughter's friends that graduated 5th grade all got new iPhones, and my daughter had to get a track phone that she paid for herself, not because I couldn't get her a phone, but because I wanted to teach her a lesson about what it is to earn money and have to spend that money and make decisions, wise decisions on whether or not that phone was important enough for her to have to spend her hard-earned money on. And she now, several years later, now 4 years later, is starting to understand the wisdom in that and sees that it's going that those lessons will teach her later on down the line.
Now, okay, moving to another question. Pastor Joe Fox, he's talking about how much he saves, and I'm guessing it's got to be hard with texting and whatever. But he says, no, pay God first. And here's the thing that my thoughts are this. Absolutely. And I'm not going to speak for Tommy because his opinion is going to be different than mine. But I'll say this, guys. If you don't know what a tithe is, it's absolutely a percentage of the money that God has blessed you with. The percentage of, well, it's a submission to God. And here's the thing. People may say, well, God has everything. Why does he want my money? That's not the point. The point is that he wants your whole heart. And it seems like one of the hardest things in the world to do is give up our money. We grab onto that like nothing else. But I would say one of the biggest problems in our society is the fact that we don't submit to God anymore. We absolutely put ourselves first. And I'm not making comment on anybody else. I'm talking straight to myself. Okay, guys, so don't get feathers ruffled. But I'm saying this, that as a society, we've ignored who God is and the blessings and how the blessings come to us. And we hold too tightly to stuff that's just going to burn away and melt away and going to be gone. And so I can completely, relate to and agree that when you tithe, you're investing into something that you may never even see the benefit of. It's kind of like throwing a rock into a pond, and you might seed some money into something and you may never see where the ripples go, but people are blessed and lives are changed. And so I understand that, and I wanted to point that out. But that's just my opinion. Tommy may have a different kind of vibe. And so I get it, and I just wanted to comment on it because it is something near and dear to my heart. There you go. So, poof. Question done.
I would say this, and you know what, Pastor Joe, if you're a man of the faith, and I know you are, you're absolutely right, and that's not where my head was at. My head was, I was wearing a different hat, the financial planner's hat. So I would say this.
Dude. We totally need that too.
Yeah. I would say this. Throughout my life, the more tightly I held on to money without wanting to give it away, the harder it was to earn the money and come by it. And I've talked to people that said, the more I give away, the more I get. Givers get. You ever hear that saying? So the more they give to the church, the more that ends up coming in the front door. And that's just the way those things seem to work in life. The more you give, the more you get. And that's whether you're given money or knowledge or help or what have you. My dad had a saying he said he learned in the Army, and it was, if you want to have a friend, you got to be a friend. And it's kind of funny. On moving day, if you can't seem to round up a few of your friends to come help you move, maybe it's because you weren't there for them when it was time to help them. You know what I mean?
Ouch. Yeah, absolutely, man. So I don't know where we're at. We're into this almost, we're an hour and a half in, bro.
Are we really? I got to get out of here.
Yeah, kids. I can't. Well, we've only actually been doing it for the last 20 minutes, so hour and a half. It's like crap. But I will say this. I've been looking at the comments as we've been chatting, and John Lord has been saying that YouTube, there's been a lot of changes in Silicon Valley, YouTube and Google, and a lot of people changing things, and he's saying that they've got them pretty jacked up. And if you guys know John Lord and you've read his comments, you'll know that he knows a lot about a lot. And I mean a lot. It's crazy. This guy is off the charts in terms of knowledge. I'll make a video on something you think is kind of benign, like 5 cool uses for rubbing alcohol, and then the video won't even down for 5 minutes, and I have 10 paragraphs. Oh, you forgot this one, and they're all good stuff. It's just he's that kind of guy that he just knows a lot about a lot. So he's saying that Google and they're all fighting.
He's like the Cliff Clavin of YouTube.
Huh?
He's like the Cliff Clavin of YouTube. He knows a lot about a lot. Hold on. Oh, you okay?
No, that was just funny.
I meant that with all respect, John. I mean, I meant that with all respect. You know a lot about a lot of stuff.
Well, and I should have breathed out when I breathed in. So
yeah.
Anyway, so why don't we say goodnight for the evening? I think I'd like to end with the man prayer from Red Green.
Hold on. I just want to tell you that Pastor Joe said that his favorite music is bluegrass, Celtic, and Wagner, and I have no idea what Wagner is.
It's not Wagner, bro.
What is it?
It's called Wagner, and actually, that is very, very
Wagner with a W is Wagner.
Yes, he's a German guy, and he was absolutely a crazy Jew hater, which is really, really interesting. Hitler's favorite artist was Wagner.
So wait,
I'm not putting Pastor Joe with Hitler. I'm really not.
Hold on a second. So he wasn't saying that he really likes the Wagner paint sprayer. Are you sure?
It's not Wagner. It's Wagner.
Are you sure?
Actually, hold on, time out. And I know you will know this piece because I'm gonna sing you a piece of Wagner, and you're gonna know it. I swear to God, you'll know it. Scout's honor.
Okay.
Swear to God. Don't swear to God. You'll know it. Scout's honor. Right? Ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
Kill the wabbit. Kill the wabbit. Kill the wabbit. With my sword and magic helmet. Sword, magic helmet. Magic helmet. That's Wagner. It was, wow. Yes, it was that piece when the Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd was trying to kill him and come down. It was an opera. That specific piece of music that you know is an opera. And it actually was really, really loved by the Third Reich a lot. There's history there with them. So knowing that Pastor Joe Fox is not like that is super interesting that he would say Wagner.
Interesting.
Anyway.
We'll see all the neat things that we learned tonight.
There you go. Elmer Fudd is a racist. What are you going to do?
All right. So listen, Wayne's homestead, Southeast Michigan homestead, and who was the gal from earlier on that left some comments?
We're figuring this out.
Well,
I don't know.
if y'all want a chance to be on the Homestead Nation, just shoot us an email at thehomesteadnation@gmail.com, and we'll hook something up and get you
We
on.
need to have we need killed the wabbit. I killed the wabbit with my sword and magic helmet. Magic helmet. Magic helmet. Yes.
All right,
So,
Knucklehead.
I have no idea what's going on right now.
Hey, I want to say this before I go. I love you.
Right there.
Good night, buddy.
See you
Good
guys.
night, everyone out there in YouTube land. Thanks for watching.
Bye bye.